The Senate is headed into a rare weekend session to take up President Trump's sweeping elections bill, the Save America Act. The legislation would dramatically reshape voting ahead of the midterms, requiring documentary proof of citizenship just to register, mandating that photo ID every time a ballot is cast, and forcing states to hand over voter rolls to the Department of Homeland Security. The bill is all but certain to fall short of the 60 votes needed to overcome a filibuster. But that's not stopping Trump from urging Republicans to tack on a slew of amendments that have absolutely nothing to do with elections, including a ban on transgender women participating in women's sports and restrictions on gender-affirming care for minors. The session comes as the Senate has failed yet again to pass funding for DHS, with air travelers struggling with increasingly long lines at airports. Plus, Senator Markwayne Mullins' nomination has advanced out of committee after receiving a key yes vote from Democrat John Fetterman. The Senate is going to take its first step on confirming Mullen on Sunday, and it's expected to go to a full Senate vote early this week. Michael Schnell is back with us. I don't even know where to start. There's so much going on here right now, but I think maybe let's start with the shutdown before we get into the SAVE Act. Where even are we on negotiations? Has there been any progress made, and how much longer do you think the government's going to be shut down for?
There's been talking, which is a good thing in this situation because there was no talking for so long, but how productive that's been, we're still trying to glean the details. I was at the Capitol last night until about 8 p.m., and that's because Tom Homan was up there for the second time in 2 days, meeting with a bipartisan group of senators, people like Appropriations Chair Susan Collins, the top Democrat on the Appropriations Committee, Patty Murray, and they're discussing, how do we reopen the government? It's the only thing Tom Homan would say coming in and out of the Capitol, we need to get the government back open. The latest development is last night, Republicans told us that they had made an expanded offer, the White House made an expanded offer to Democrats. Remember that list of 5 things the White House said they would do earlier this week? They added a couple points. That's what Susan Collins told me. She wouldn't tell me what they added and how significant it was. Was it just simply a statement of we're going to follow the law, or was it an actual concession? We don't know, but we're still hearing from Democrats that there is a ways to go and that they are just simply not there yet. The 2 biggest issues have been judicial warrants, requiring that DHS actually seeks warrants before going into sensitive facilities, homes, businesses, churches, right, to conduct their immigration crackdown. And then identification, having officers take off their masks so you can actually see who these ICE officials are. Those have been the 2 points of contention. I asked Republicans last night after the meeting, did you resolve those? They were pretty tight-lipped. Sometimes a good thing on Capitol Hill, actually.
I was going to say, when they're quiet, it actually means that things are actually happening, finally.
Right. When they're blabbing, it's like, okay, things probably aren't going well. So we may be getting somewhere. One more thing I'll leave you with. John Thune told me earlier this week that this needs to be wrapped up by the end of next week. The Senate and the House are set to leave for a week-long recess on Thursday and Friday. Thune essentially saying that is saying, hey, guys, if you don't do this, I'll cancel recess. And, there's nothing that members of Congress love more than their recess. Putting that on the table, putting a deadline and making a threat like that could mean that there is some movement and potentially a light at the end of the tunnel soon.
There is something that's making me very happy. Renee, let's pull up that live shot of the Capitol again, because it's such a beautiful day here in D.C., and they're going to be stuck working inside all day. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? They're going to have to work.
Stuck working.
Is it? One of the things, I want to move to the SAVE Act, because this weekend, they aren't working on DHS funding. They are working on this kind of performative vote that it doesn't, you tell me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't appear that they have the votes to make it go anywhere.
No.
They're not getting 60. There doesn't seem to be an appetite on the Republican side, a real appetite to even do a carve-out for the filibuster when it comes to a law like this. So what is the point other than to make Donald Trump feel better?
Yeah, to put a pin on what you just said, like before we start any conversation about the SAVE Act, this is not becoming law. Right. There are not enough votes for it unless they completely restructure the Senate and nuke the filibuster rules. Then we could start talking, but there's no appetite among Republicans. So the question, why are people doing this? Well, there's a restive group of hardline conservatives in the Senate and the base, the MAGA base of Republicans who want, and the president actually as well, who want this legislation to become law. The president has said it's his #1 priority. It is existential threat to democracy. This needs to happen.
It's an existential threat to Republicans.
Republicans.
Very different.
Yeah.
It's very different.
They want to get this done. I mean, look, folks are very aware this is never going to happen, right? Even some Republicans this week were saying this is never going to happen. But it's performative, right? They need to show the base that they're fighting. They need to show people like Mike Lee, we're trying. The president needs to see that they're here on a weekend churning through votes. But at the end of the day, never going to happen. Democrats have been very adamant that they're against this. They're afraid that it can make it more difficult for voters to actually cast their ballots, requiring proof of citizenship. Everyone may not have access to their birth certificate. Everyone may not have access to a driver's license. And then married women, that's a real concern as well, because maybe their married name isn't on those pieces of identification. Democrats not going to move an inch on this. Republicans, the votes just simply aren't there. But they're in the Senate right now, churning through votes, and they're going to be here all weekend. We'll see if it appeases the Mike Lees of the world, the President Trumps of the world, the base. But again, at the end of the day, this is not becoming law.
Michael, yes or no answer to this. So if the SAVE Act is never going to happen, is the confirmation of Senator Markwayne Mullin as the next Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, is that a done deal?
That's a done deal. That's happening. The nomination advanced out of the Senate Homeland Security Committee earlier this week. It was an interesting vote. Rand Paul came out swinging at that confirmation hearing.
You stand your butt.
Yes, and very much so voted no. John Fetterman sort of canceled that out, and it sailed through. We're expecting the procedural vote on the full Senate floor to happen as early as tomorrow evening, and we can be up to confirmation on Monday. So interesting. I mean, the guy is entering the DHS at an interesting time, leaving the chamber that's been working on these negotiations to reopen the agency. He's going to go run it. It's a fascinating story. We'll see if that makes any moves.
And folks should not expect that anything's going to change at DHS with him at the top. Michael Schnell, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
You'll be there later, I'm sure.
I'll be there later.
Yes, good luck.
You too.